Hi, everybody. This is Team Deborah's Eagles monthly Zoom call. And we are discussing whether InCruises members should be have access to the masterminds. Okay, Laura.
Yeah, I think that definitely some masterminds that are geared towards InCruises, I think that they should. I know the one that was done, I believe in the beginning, Mike said it would be added. A system request has been put in to please add it, and it still hasn't been added to the InCruise people. And it was all on InCruises. So I think that ones that are pertaining to, at least just InCruises should be. The other situation I've had is I have a downline who came in with the 149 through my Enagic funnel. She had her coaching call, but she only started with InCruises. So she started with InCruises, and now she's joined Send Out Cards, an affiliate. So I put in a system request to see if they could unlock the training just for the Send Out Cards for her, because she was having a hard time filling out the W8 Ben form.
Right.
Whereas our training kind of shows that. And they denied that. They said the only time that gets unlocked is with the main training unlock with an Enagic purchase. And I had only asked for that, just that one tab. So I asked it twice in two different ways, and both times were rejected. So I think that, maybe that's something that could be touched with Mike and Darren, is that could we, at least for InCruise only people, if they join Send Out Cards, could they have just the access open for Send Out Cards?
And I kind of like the idea of InCruise only buyers, business owners having the entire mastermind, Wednesday mastermind tab, because they do talk about Send Out Cards stuff on there a lot as well. So if they are Send Out Card affiliates, then at least they'll have like all that great info on how to use Send Out Cards, how other people are using it. The issue with yours not getting access to the Send Out Cards tab, I have a feeling that would have to be something that Simon would have to program, because they probably just don't have the capability of just opening like one tab at a time, I'm thinking. So maybe Simon has to create some kind of, exception to the rule that could be opened separately.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of a line of code.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I've done coding before, and once the basic is built, which he's already got it built for InCruises, just to get those tabs opened up, it should be nothing. Well, not nothing. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it is something, but it should be able to be done.
It should be, yeah. I think he's just busy with other stuff, so maybe they don't want to ask him, but they should ask. They shouldn't just shut you down and say no.
I think that, in the beginning, and the whole concept is, don't give them full access to the training because they haven't paid that big Enagic money, and totally understand that, totally get it. Our training is worth its value in gold. However, I think that there should be, little exceptions here and there. But yeah, where do you draw the line and how do you figure that out?
I know Darren did say one night, well, both Darren and Mike said one night, that unless they pay for the Enagic distributor and the 149, they're not going to get the masterminds. They're not going to get all the gold without putting the money down.
I am finding, now that we're in this a bit with InCruise only people, I'm finding that the InCruise people are attending, example, my lady, she's attending the 50 plus. She's hearing all people talk about the Enagic, everything else, access to training here. She also attended a bunch of Tuesday fundamentals, and everything they talked about was referring to the training of the main training, and she didn't have access to that. So I'm finding she's getting frustrated.
Who is that? Who's in the 50 plus group that's not in Enagic?
Susan Ross.
Oh, that's the name. How did she get in?
But why can't she be in?
She can be in 50 plus.
She's in Flock.
How did she get in Flock? Does it
not the TDD? Deborah, you're thinking of the TDD training.
No, I'm thinking of 50 plus, but
no, they're allowed to be in Flock. I was going to say something to you before. Yeah, because you mentioned something about that, and I was going to bring it up. But yeah, InCruises only business partners are allowed to be in Flock.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm finding that, their whole very beginning idea was that they thought that InCruise only people would see all this wonderful, exciting stuff about Enagic and then get them curious and want them to join. My downline does want to join at one point. It's just not in her cards right now, and she's just finding it very frustrating because everything she's going to is talking about referring to the main training. So I did put in a system request about the newbie Tuesdays, or fundamentals, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And they are going to revamp all of that so that it isn't specifically gearing towards the main training anymore, and specifically saying go to this tab and see this and go see that. But yeah, I find that it's actually kind of doing the opposite. I find that it's frustrating people.
And I feel that in the same line, like when I was chatting with Darren before InCruises even came out, he kind of was making it seem like this InCruises was going to be equal to Enagic in the sense that you could start with either one and you'd have access to the same stuff. But then the Enagic people were kicking up a fuss saying that if we put InCruises, give it the same weight as Enagic, their Enagic businesses would suffer. So that's why they ended up doing it the way they did. But it just almost feels like the InCruises buyers are being treated as like kind of this is a second class business. It's not as important as Enagic. Whereas in my eyes, I want to focus more on InCruises than Enagic going forward. I'm just very tired of Enagic. They're such a hassle to deal with that I would rather focus more on InCruises, but not if it's not going to convert because it's being treated as almost like a second tier business. Because like if Laura's people are getting frustrated, then I can only imagine, you know, as we add more and more InCruises only members in, it's just probably going to get worse.
Maybe do we have to have an InCruises only flock chat? I hate to have friggin' chat.
Well,
group,
they
but-
do have a block chat for InCruises.
We're
No,
getting
I mean,
it black
just
anyway.
leaving them in there, you know, instead of getting
I
them,
see.
mixing them
Only
all
have
through.
access to InCruises.
Yeah.
Well,
I
but on
don't
that
think that's
case,
the
like
answer.
on that case though, I don't know, because Susan's really enjoying the 50 plus, and she's understanding
would,
that a
yeah.
lot of the stuff doesn't pertain to her, but you know, and she's a
How
very
she can
educated
use it.
woman and she gets it. She's
Okay.
just saying it's kind of frustrating that
Yeah.
everything they're talking about, I can't access it.
Yeah,
Or
I
a
didn't
lot of the
realize
conversation.
it was InCruise only.
Mhm.
See,
Yeah.
because I've had a couple of people that paid the $149, had their coaching call, started with InCruises, and then boom, they instantly wanted to get into Enagic. The reason they started with InCruises is because they didn't have the funds to start with Enagic. But man, after they get in and seeing other people and things in the dream team and things and talking about this, then they wanted in Enagic right away. And they come up
And
with
she
money.
does.
They only got Wukon Sigma, because I really discouraged DD, right? And they did get Wukon Sigma, both of them, and got started.
Yeah, and she does want to join Enagic. She actually picked an Enagic funnel instead of an InCruise funnel, because she does want to incorporate just the online business and not just go travel related, and wants to be able to add Enagic later. It's just not in her cards right now. And yeah, she's had some hardships and with family health and stuff like that. And yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, as we go, we're gonna learn more.
Yeah,
from people,
it's gonna
but-
take time.
Yeah. Okay, I just got an email. I have to announce it. I'm finally excited.
What?
My Papua New Guinea buyer, Christina knows, Deborah, I talked to you about
Oh,
it.
really?
Finally today, after all of this, he's paid, he's got his super trifecta. So not a K trifecta, but a super trifecta.
Wow.
And he finally got all of his payments done. We've had a month and a half of like shit show, basically. And yeah, he's got it done. Officially, his training's unlocked.
Awesome.
Wow.
Woohoo.
So, speaking of Papua New Guinea, I don't want this to discourage you, but my buyer, or she's under Bernice, but Bernice's buyer, Elizabeth Kiki, bought in April 21st, 2021. She just had her Wukon Sigma sent to her today. It's been all over the world. It's
Oh
been
my
in
God.
and out of customs, return, back to customs, return. She just had it. They guaranteed she'd have it this week, the last email we got.
And I think what they've done, that's why Papua New Guinea has changed the shipping now to
Oh.
only DHL, because that's what was happening. They were picking that cheaper shipping and then it was going all over the place. So now with Papua New Guinea, you can only ship by DHL. So it's really expensive to ship, but they actually just sent a little thing saying his one will be shipped out in the next month. So
Perfect. Well, that's the last email she got too that just came the other day, but it said, this is your tracking number, this is your, but it was something DHL. There was another word in front of the DHL. And actually,
Well, she probably got caught up in the COVID stuff too, because Papua New Guinea wasn't, or Hong Kong was not even shipping to Papua New Guinea for like 2 straight years. They said right in the emails, FYI, we're going to hold this year at our warehouse until the postal service is going into Papua New Guinea again, because I guess they weren't during COVID.
well, it's like it's like Mexico. Debbie, we have to go to the post office and see if our letters are there, because apparently there is a post office here in Playa del Carmen. They just don't deliver letters here. Apparently, we should be able to go there and
Okay.
get them.
Have you heard of the joke about people that go into the airport lost and found luggage departments, and it's just a great big warehouse with nothing but suitcases and whatnot that you just walk through? That's what Mexico post office is like.
So you'll probably have a pile of send out cards sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, but I don't even know if they organize them. Like, we don't even know if they organize them or what they do, but we'll have to definitely, even though these people speak English because they happen to be in a government position, if we go in there looking for a letter, they'll guarantee they will not speak English to us. So we have to take a Mexican citizen with us that can talk to them.
Yeah,
And then they'll speak.
on their level. Yeah.
But so Papua New Guinea's mail system sounds similar to Mexico's mail.
Yeah, and knowing what I know now about him, like in our coaching call, he didn't disclose that he flies to Australia 3 times a week for business. And knowing what I know now, if I would have known that, maybe he could have just picked up his products from Australia office. I don't know if that would have, instead of dealing with Hong Kong, I don't know if
I
that
don't
would.
think so.
I don't think they can do that, no.
But he
No,
can do his filters and stuff, right? He'll be able to get his filters and stuff from Australia office, right? When he's there for business.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably if he goes.
Oh,
into-
yeah, he can get your filters anywhere. Now, I inquired about this lady that's became a business partner. She lives here in Mexico, but she used her Canadian address to register for the business, because here's what she wanted to do. She didn't want the business in her kid's name. She wanted the business in her name, the Enagic products, everything in her name, but she wanted to register through Canada and have the products shipped here. And it's absolutely never a chance. You can't. She was even going to go to Mexico City and pick them up, and they said no.
Mhm.
She would have had to register as a Mexican, and even though she's a
Yeah.
resident of Mexico, she said no, she wouldn't do that. She wanted it because the commissions are terrible here in Mexico. They're awful. If you can
Yeah.
register somebody from Mexico that has an American address or a social security
Canadian.
number, or that could, they could register for the business, but put the products in their son's name or daughter's name or whatever, and then we just do the system thing, then that's the way for them to go, because commissions paid in Mexico is bad.
Mhm.
So it's really.
Mind you,
scary.
the prices aren't that bad if it's shipping out, depending on where it's
Well, their
shipping to.
commissions are terrible. I mean, they get
I
hardly
know, it's
any
horrible.
commissions. And I mean, their products are the same price as ours, right? But they get hardly any commissions.
Mm.
Really bad,
That's why I'm tired of Enagic.
right? Like just,
It's a pain, it truly is.
well, and checks, like my checks came yesterday that should have been here on the 3rd day of October. Like, I mean, to Canada,
Mm.
right? Should have been there on the 3rd day of October, just came in the mail yesterday.
Yeah.
And then they all come in bulk. So it's like an adjunct sending them all out the same day. They wait until you get about 4 or 5 checks or more, and then they send them all out at once. Right?
I have to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the Enagic office in Asia, though, with Jimmy. I was dealing with him directly, and we were going back and forth quite a bit. And then this is the first time I think I've ever had a trifecta processed properly.
Mm.
Wow.
In the right spots and as by request and all of that. The first go around they've done
Wow.
it properly.
So what does that trifecta put you at for points?
Oh, I have lots of points. I have like 115 points or something. I have enough points. It's just my volume. I should be at about, just looking at my sheet, I should be at about 280 some thousand now.
Getting close.
2 more
Good.
trifectas.
Yeah.
But then you got to make sure you have the 10 sales the month you claim.
Yeah.
Group sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Our groups aren't really doing much. That's the problem.
Hmm. I've got a couple more of my distributors back advertising, so say
Well,
that.
that's why I'm really pushing Enagic on the 50 plus and, and TDD Zooms, because we need to get people back into advertising again, because people really want the product. They really do. I had one lady that, I was doing she had registered and she didn't know. And then when she watched the pre-coaching calls or videos and seen that it was an Enagic product, she wanted the machine. So she's getting a machine. She's not even interested in buying the Ukon, but she really wants to offer the machines to people. And I said, well, if that's what you want to do, it's up to you. But I told her, instead of 340 on a KA at the 1A level, you're going to get 280, right? So that's the difference in the commission. So they have to be aware of that up front, unless she has Ukon, and then if she has Ukon, she'll get her 340. So it makes difference in the money for sure. But yeah, and I'm having like InCruises. Are you guys getting a lot of response on your InCruises? You are, Christina?
On my InCruises funnel?
Ads? Do you have an InCruise only ad?
Yeah, I turned it off now though, but I want to wait and see what they're doing with the funnel. But the landing page works fine because I get lots of leads, but they do not convert to buyers. And I've had tons of leads. So I would have expected 1 or 2 to convert to buyers. But the funny thing that happens is, from my InCruises only ad and coming through my InCruises only funnel, I had at least 3 of them become buyers, but not because of my InCruise funnel. They must have opted into somebody's regular funnel afterwards, because all 3 of them came in as a regular buyer. So if they had bought in through my InCruises funnel, they would have been listed as InCruise only buyers, but they came as regular buyers. So that means that they've opted into someone else's regular funnel and became a buyer through the regular funnel, but still within the past 6 months we're in my InCruises funnel. So that to me says that the InCruises funnel doesn't convert. So I've stopped advertising on it till they do some changes to it.
I stopped advertising my InCruise funnel too.
Yeah, I have also. I'm doing a message ad.
But when I do my coaching calls, you can tell if they're they're interested in the Enagic and get the money to buy, right up front when you're doing the call, whether they do. And if they absolutely come right out and say, look, I just cannot afford that, then I go right into InCruises. And they're the ones that signed up and bought in with InCruises and now have bought in with Enagic.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is if we can get them onto that coaching call. And the only way they're going to get a coaching call is if they come in from a main funnel.
And I don't know
Not an
why
InCruise.
they have the 2 prices. Why can't we just do straight across the board 149?
The idea originally was because they thought we could advertise in less affluent countries and get more buyers, but that's proving not to be true. So yeah, there is no reason to have that lesser price on that funnel.
So on our coaching, like when
Or
they
even to have 2
coaches
separate
thing
funnels.
comes up, when that coaching thing comes up, let's put in that, to change it back to 149 across the board.
Well, are you able to find out what they're working on right now? Maybe that's one of the things they're changing.
Well, they've getting a lot of requests for that, because I'm not going to charge. Are you going to charge somebody $25 to do a coaching call that comes in on InCruises? I'm not.
No.
I'm not doing it.
Well,
I haven't had anybody yet that come on just in an InCruise funnel.
No,
I've
I haven't either, but I
Yeah.
just don't feel comfortable telling them, oh yeah, you can talk to me, but you got to pay $25. How does that take the integrity
no.
away?
If you
right?
get an
No, no,
InCruises,
no,
if you
no.
get an InCruises buyer, I'm just going to do a call with them or a Zoom, right?
Me
Just
too.
a Zoom, like an onboarding or whatever.
Yeah.
But if
If they want to
if
come
they
into
want to
it.
be Yeah, if they want to come into Enagic, that's when you charge the $25
Yeah.
to explain the whole Enagic thing to them. It's not just when they come in as an InCruise buyer.
Exactly.
It's when they want to upgrade to Enagic, that's when you're supposed to charge the 25.
But then that was the other system
But-
request I had put in is, so say somebody comes in with in-cruise only. Now they're doing in-cruises. Now they would like to have a coaching call. So I had asked, will they get the pre-coaching videos prior to having a coaching call?
Yeah.
Because really they aren't.
They
They aren't gonna
should,
get
though.
them.
Well, they need to.
Yeah,
There
but
needs
they
to be a
don't.
way. I know, but there needs to be a way. There's no point doing a coaching call if they haven't watched
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I put that system request and they said, no, not at this time. They won't get a pre-coaching call. So if you can't have them have access to the pre-coaching videos, then how are you gonna have a coaching call successfully?
Yeah.
Very much
Exactly.
so. Yeah.
Exactly. So everybody needs to pay the 149. I really believe that because I had one lady, she paid the 149 and then she said, oh, she really wasn't interested in the Enagic products. Like she texted me and then it was Sharon's lady and I sent her Sharon's link for InCruises. Oh, she said it doesn't talk about that, but it does talk about a little bit about the InCruises on the,
There's one video, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? But
Video
people's
6.
not taking it in, right?
Yeah, mine from Panama had
They're
totally
not taking it
missed that
in.
it was part of the online business. Like you could choose that as your commission base, basically, instead of
doesn't-
interest
yeah,
or Enagic.
It doesn't say that in the pre-coaching videos. No, it doesn't say that it's an option until after they've asked for a refund.
Yeah.
But it does talk about it. But like ideally it would be nice if we could all use the same funnel, but I know where the problem lies. It's that if we all use the same funnel for InCruises and Enagic, and then somebody just chooses InCruises, now their funnel cannot have any mention of Enagic. That's where the problem is. When they are advertising, they can't use the same pre-coaching video. The same pre-coaching videos can't be sent to their buyers because it'll mention Enagic and they don't have Enagic. So that's
Then
the only
we're gonna have to do some pre-coaching videos with just InCruises.
That's what I would think would be ideal is everyone uses the same funnel in terms of all your leads get invited to the webinar, right? Because the webinar doesn't mention products. So they could all watch the webinar. I think the webinar sells, all those testimonials are what get people on board.
Yeah.
And then when they buy in, they get sent, depending on if they were from an InCruises funnel, InCruises business owner funnel or regular funnel, there'd have to be some way to differentiate what kind of a lead they were, and then they would get sent the appropriate pre-coaching call videos.
Yeah.
And then I think that you're right, Deborah, they should all be offered a coaching call and their funnel should be included in the price. Even though it works out to be the same price, it just seems like we're nickel and diming people if we then later ask for them to pay for their funnel when they kind of thought that was included. Yeah.
And also, we're no different than any other business out there, those scammy businesses. If we're not going to talk to them, we're bringing them into a business and not even having a coaching call with them to talk to them. I mean, that's where our integrity is within Enagic, is that we have the coaching calls and follow-up calls with our people. And, I've talked to a couple of people that are in the business and they've got a lot of InCruise buyers and they haven't even contacted them. So how is that? We're bringing people into a business and leaving them alone, right? They're on their own.
I'd be curious to see their stats because I know that one of the reasons they brought InCruises in was to try and lower the refund rate because so many people were refunding and the refund rate was getting really high. And that has worked, I think, when they have the coaching call, because I've saved a couple sales when I've had the coaching call with people, then they come in with the InCruises, right? Or they think about it.
Yeah.
But coming in with just an InCruise funnel, they're not going to have that power of that coaching call. Yeah.
And they need it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need
Well,
it.
I mean, I'm just assuming everyone's doing a coaching call, just not getting paid for it, because why wouldn't you? You have this live buyer there, you want to capture them.
Yeah.
So you could offer them, hey, let's do a quick call if you have any questions after you watch the videos. And I don't even know what videos they get. I don't think they're as good as the ones people get after buying in through the Enagic funnel.
Videos for
They
what?
get anything?
Like,
do
They
they?
don't get any.
They don't get
No, yes, they
anything
do.
when they pay their $100,
No,
do they?
yes, they do. They do. They get a series of videos that explains what they just bought into, but I don't think they're just taken from,
Oh.
From
There's,
yeah.
InCruises themselves. They're just getting
I've-
video from InCruises.
yeah, I saw them when Mike was first designing the funnel. He sent me the videos, so I saw them, but they're not as long or as extensive as when you buy
Well,
into a
you know
regular
what?
funnel.
I can show you right now because I'll register on my InCruise funnel only.
No, but I'm talking about as a buyer, not a lead.
Oh, right. Shoot.
So as a lead, yes, you get 2 videos on your thank you page. There's a video talking about the online sales funnel, and then there's a video with someone from our team talking about the business, and then there's like a testimonial video. So I think there's 3 videos. But then after they pay the $100 to buy in, they do get a video series to watch. It's just
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't realize
So,
that.
I didn't know either. Where is?
yeah, because on the thank you page, it doesn't say InCruises at all.
Yeah.
Now they changed that. So now it doesn't say InCruises. When you pay your $100, then you find out about InCruises. You're sent this little video series and you're sent the referral link of your mentor, I believe. So you could
Mhm.
technically sign up on your own without a coaching call, but if that was my buyer, I would be contacting them and saying, hey, let me know when you're done watching the videos and we can book a quick call or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I just know it's not
Where is
working.
that video though? We must have access to it to be able to see it somewhere.
It was never we were never given access to it, no.
So that's another, okay, gotta send that to Darren too. You're gonna say, what are you doing today, Deborah? Let's say, talk to Christine.
But I mean, first find out what they're doing. Like I know they're working on something because someone posted it in the InCruises chat. So I
Yeah.
would find out first what they're doing before you give them these suggestions, because maybe they're already doing all this. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I'm just asking, like, they still haven't answered me, but I don't even know if they're home. Are they
No,
still
I think
on
it's
their
still-
trip?
Yeah, I don't think they're home yet. Well, at least they haven't posted.
Yeah, I think they must know that maybe the InCruise funnel only is not converting. I mean, how would they not? They keep track of all the stats, right?
Yeah.
I'd just be curious to see how, if I know just the 4 of us talking, they're not working.
You know
That's
what?
right.
I'm going to contact Nazarene too.
About what?
Well, Nazarene works really close on doing those videos and things, so,
Mm.
I'll see. Like, she works really close with that. I was talking to her the other day, so I'll give her another dose here. Hey, Lori, where are you? Toronto, Panama? Where are you?
I'm in Ontario still.
Still in Toronto?
Yep. I'm just having lunch though, so I'm not going to put my camera on so you can see me eat.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. Her heading to
Yeah.
Panama. I remember when I moved to Mexico, I was so excited. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, like I peed 30 times a day. Like I was just so excited. I was like a little kid waiting for Christmas. Do you remember how excited you were Christmas Eve waiting for Santa Claus to come? I remember that excitement like it was yesterday. And that's how I felt when I moved to Mexico.
So do you think you'll ever move back, or are you going to stay there?
No, I'm going to stay here. You know, when I was home in Canada, my kids took me aside, set me down, and said, now, Mom, we want to know the truth. Are you staying in Mexico because of Dad? Or why are you there? And I said, no, it has nothing to do with him. I'm very content here. I'm actually the most content I have ever been in my entire life. I have, look, amazing friends. I'm on the go here all the time, like all the time, every day of the week. My days go so fast because like the days that I'm not sitting here at my computer 24 hours, I'm out doing something like, and you know, with my MTI training and just go all the time. And I'm loving it. And I'm here because I want to be. Like, I'm the most content here. Do I miss my kids? Dearly. But you know what? They have to call me and FaceTime me more than what they ever did, right? Which is good because I hear from them more here than when I lived in Canada. Because they just took for granted they could stop in whenever, right?
Mhm.
And so I actually talked to them more being down here. So anyways, I got their blessing finally after all these years. They finally gave me their blessing for me to be here because they were so happy that I was so content and calm when I was home that they noticed the difference in me, right? The big difference. And when I
That's
was home, I enjoyed my children. I always enjoyed my grandchildren, but I enjoyed my children, my adult children, more than I have in years. Like we had conversations that we haven't had in years, and it was just so good spending one-on-one time with them that it was awesome.
Nice.
So I'm here because I want to be. So I don't think I'll ever move back, right?
Yep.
And if I do, it'll probably be to the point I have to go to a nursing home or something, but that's not going to be for another 30 years or more. Right?
Do you have to, in order to keep your Canadian healthcare, do you have to come back every once in a while?
Yeah, if they cancel it on you, but the only way you're going to get it canceled on you is if you get reported, right?
Mhm.
But I called and tried to make a doctor's appointment when I was home, and they couldn't get me in until after I left. So I should have just went to but I don't want to go to the emergency or to the after hours clinics when there's nothing wrong, right?
Mhm.
So
So do you have international medical insurance down there then?
no, and you know what? I'm not going to get it because I'll tell you why. I had a gallbladder attack and a kidney stone
Busted ribs,
passing.
busted ribs.
Oh yeah, broke my ribs. I didn't go to the doctor for there. I knew they were.
No.
Anyways, I thought I was having appendicitis because I'm the only one in my family that has my appendix. So the pain was so severe everywhere in my abdomen that I finally broke down and I did go to the doctor because I thought, oh God, if it bursts, I'll die, right? So anyways, I went into the hospital. It cost me 150 pesos, which is $14, like less than $14, to see the doctor. And then I had a complete CAT scan, body CAT scan, not just of what I thought was my appendix. They did every organ in my body for 150 pesos. And then I saw a specialist for 300 pesos.
Hmm.
So I cannot pay insurance for that
Yeah.
cheap, right? So that was my one experience, and found out it wasn't my appendix, that I was passing kidney stones and that I had gallbladder stones. So when I went to the specialist, I said to him, is there any way that I can do this without going in and having major surgery, right? I really don't want to lose my gallbladder because it's really important, right? Especially for somebody that's easy to gain weight, and I do. So your gallbladder is very important to keep. So anyways, he said yes, and he sent me to a naturopath. And then I went into his office. That cost me 3,000 pesos. So that's still pretty cheap, right? And they went in right in his office with the laser. I just have one little hole. It's all purple and healed now. One little hole where they went in with the thing and blasted the stones in both. And I can't take pain medication, so they just rub stuff on where the thing went in, and yeah, you can feel it a little bit, but not bad. 10 minutes I was up, and 20 minutes I was out of there.
Well, so that's good. So you got good access to medical care there, and you're not
Oh,
waiting
and
6
good
months for a
medical
specialist
care.
and stuff. Yeah.
Well,
Just as long as you're fine with paying out of pocket, right? Like,
yeah, and you go to
Yeah.
a doctor here, they instantly send you to a specialist. There's a specialist on call of everything all the time. And if he's not there at the hospital, they contact them. If you go in with any issue, you see a specialist. You just don't go to a doctor and they set up an appointment for 6 months down the road. You see a specialist the same day or the next day if he's out of town. Because when I went with my shoulder, when I broke my collarbone, you guys knew I did that, right? I fell off my chair. Well, my chair broke actually. And that was the same amount of money. And if I hadn't had to have surgery, it was going to cost 60,000 pesos, which is about 2,500 Canadian dollars. Now, if I bought insurance being over 65 years of age, I would pay more than that per year. And I've been here 4 years, so I would pay $10,000 and used it like less than, that's why, you know, if something happens and medication here is so cheap. Like, I mean, cheap. Right? And remember,
My father-in-law was in Mexico, and he was fine with paying out of pocket until he needed surgery.
Mhm.
And then they were thankful that he was able to be transported back to Canada
Yep.
for the surgery because they
what
could
did
not.
he have for surgery?
He actually ended up having leukemia. So
Yeah.
he had
But you know what?
a really bad blood infection down there, and it was going to be it was just insane the amount of money. So he was
That depends on
stabilized
what
in order to
hospital.
fly back. Pardon me?
Depends on what hospital they go to. There is a hospital here that is set up just for Americans, Canadians, Australians, like expats, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They were in Cap.
Very, very expensive. So they want you to go to that hospital because that's the most expensive place. Like, that's when Mike was here and he had to go to the hospital. That's where he went. And of course, we had insurance then, and the insurance covered it 100%. But if it hadn't, like, I got to see a doctor for 150 pesos out of pocket. He went to there and it was 5,000 for him to see a doctor. And it was 10,000 a night to stay in the hospital, Canadian money. So, like, big difference when they think you have insurance, right? And they send you to another hospital. But when I went in and said, look, I'm a resident, I have my residency card, I have no insurance, and you get Mexican prices. So, but a lot of people have it. I mean, I don't discourage people from getting it. If they want to get it, pay for it, that's great. But I just think it's a lot of money that you pay out during the year. And I mean, if you're in an accident, then, you know, and you needed something major and you didn't have the funds to do it, then you'd have to go back to Canada. I have insurance to ship me back to Canada, right? But that's through my old insurance. They'll just bring me out of country back home, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyways, so what do you think about when we go, change the subject back to this, when we go back to, when we do our coaching survey, you know how they always ask us about things? How about if we all put in here this information? And, you know, so it's not just coming from one person, and more people that do it, maybe they'll take a look at it, right?
We covered so many concerns though. So which one would you?
And it's also
Well,
not
I
really
think-
coaching related.
Yeah, well, I think the one about, you know, I think we should have them all, like SOC, access to the InCruises, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting that one in.
Right, and
I
then
can actually reference.
the one about the pre-coaching videos, and the one Christina and I talked about, the one I already sent to Darren
That was the masterminds.
about the masterminds, yeah. And yeah, like, you know, like, let's put them in there and see what they come back and say. I mean, that's all we can do, right? And then I'll find out from Mike and Derek, because they may say to me, you put this request here, and then I can say, well, you know, somebody did, but it sort of got denied. Like, how do we get it through? Right? So I got some messages. Let's see if it's Mike and Darren. No. See, I don't even know if they're online. Like, they have their account, so you can't tell the last time they were online. Let me see.
Oh, what's the meetup that you're planning in Mexico for February?
Well,
that
I would just
happening?
like to have a meetup here. Like, you know, we would get a place. I was thinking that place, Debbie, out where we had the church thing where the pool was, and out there. You know, depending on how many people we can get, right? So, and then, like, you know, just have a meetup and see how many people will come and who we can get for guest speakers to come, and, you know, but we need to do it like soon, because a lot of people have cruises booked for February.
And
And-
then also Mike and Darren's thing.
Pardon?
Sorry.
What did you say, Laura?
I said also people that work need to book time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
And then also just make sure it doesn't conflict with whatever Mike and Darren are planning.
Yeah. So when do you guys think? Like, I just didn't want to come up with a date on my own.
Yeah, I don't know what will work for me, so just plan whatever works for you and then I'll see if I can come.
I'd say closer to the end of February. What do you think?
Probably. I get back from Mexico January 31st, so the end of February would give me time to get my passport stuff in order.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll send a tentative date to Mike and Darren and see what they say on it, you know, that's not going to conflict with anything else that's going on. And invite them to come, right? So, see how it works, how it goes. I mean, it won't be anything big and fancy like Chris and Karen put on for sure. But
I just want to come down and visit you. I don't really care about the meetup part. I just keep meaning to come down and visit you and it hasn't happened yet.
I know, right? Well, I have the extra room, so I'd love to see anybody come. Like I said, in November, there's Joanne and Jim Craig, and then what's her face? Who did I say it was? Mercy Delane. Her and her husband are coming, and they're both here the same week, and they're both staying at resorts next door to each other. So that's awesome too. And their resorts are 4 kilometers from my house. I put in the GPS thing, so 4 kilometers from my house. So that's pretty cool.
I wanted to let you guys know that my downline, Sandy Clary, decided to quit the business, unfortunately.
Oh,
She may come back.
I know.
Right?
She might, but she's just like, she's got some personal health stuff going on that she wants to focus on. And she's like, Christina, I honestly feel like I gave it my best shot. She's like, I don't know what else I could have done. Like, she's been advertising pretty consistently the whole time. She gets buyers once in a while, but they just don't move forward. And the distributors that she does have, one of them is still active and she's very, very much advertising all the time, but just not having any luck yet. So yeah, well, I don't know. If her downline starts doing well and Sandy starts getting these commission checks in the mail, who knows? Maybe she'll come back.
And you know,
We'll see.
and this is something I don't understand. If you people are just, you know, just want to step back, step back. You know, your funnel may get canceled, this and that, but you're still in the business, right? Check into
She
Flock
doesn't
once a
want to be.
while, but she doesn't want to do
She
that.
doesn't want to be. No.
Get it?
She's like, I
don't
made this
understand.
decision. I understand because she doesn't want it at the back of her mind thinking that I'm a failure
yeah.
at this thing. She just wants to be cut ties, be clear of it, move on.
Yeah,
And then I said, well, if you ever want to come back in the future, just let me know. But right now she just doesn't want to even be, you know, have it there. She just wants to be clear of it.
I had a coaching call with people the other day, and I asked them right up front, did you guys have a chance to watch all the videos and do you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, watch them all, great, you know, and I'm doing it. And I said, remember in the coaching, in the videos, they talked about, you know, the trifecta. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then at the end, she said, there was nothing told us we had to buy product. So that told me right there, they never watched the pre-coaching calls. So I'm going to come up with a question right in the very beginning to see if they watched the pre-coaching calls.
But
I'm
I've had that too.
I watch if they're watching them, and I'm finding people still get to that 4th video and then kind of quit. So then I message them and
But
I
can you
ask,
trust that is really showing
yeah,
the truth?
yeah, it seems to be, yeah, because then I watch when they go back in, because then they say, well, it's just an Magic products, I'm not interested in that. And then I said, so example, Susan Ross, this is how I saved that sale. She wanted a refund. And
Yeah.
I said, well, you know what, did you have a look at the other company? She says, I didn't see any other companies, but I can see she stopped at the 4th video. And in the 6th video, it talks about InCruises. So then she went, and then I actually watched, and then she opened up the 5th and 6th video. Then she went back up and rewatched.
Yeah.
So seems to work. And then she wanted to come in with and have the coaching call, and then came forward with InCruises. But yeah,
When I looked at theirs, it showed the exact same time open in every video.
that's because they're skipping. They're
Well,
just skipping through. That's why.
I think they skipped through. It was the same minute.
Oh, because mine will actually say how long, like 20 minutes later, like you actually look at how long that video is, and then they did watch the whole thing, and then you go to the next one, and that one's like an hour long, and you can see that they didn't go to the next one till an hour later. So if it's showing minute after minute, they're just
They're
skipping.
not watching. That's
No.
right. Okay, so mine is right. They're just not watching.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a waste of time doing a coaching call, because if they're
And
not
call them
watching,
on
they're
that.
not gonna have a clue. And I do most times. Like I call, like, I do call them on. But I specifically asked you, did you watch all the videos that we sent to you after you paid your $149? And I just don't call them pre-coaching videos, because some people think that's the webinar. So, but anyways, we'll see. They haven't refunded. Well, she can't refund anyways because she booked her coaching call. But man, she said, if I hadn't known those products, I would have refunded. And I said, well, you should have watched the videos. And she never answered then. But as soon as she said, I didn't know there was products. And then I went into InCruises, and they booked a follow-up call and never showed up to it. And then she sent me a message saying something had happened, that they would like to book maybe in a couple of weeks. And I said, okay, no problem. Right? But amazing how the people expect they're going to have a business and not watch the information that's sent to them. Like, how do they figure? I don't get it. I just don't understand. Right? Because we all want to get as much information.
Yeah, and it's also like the people that pay and then never reach out to you, never do their coaching call, never get added to the Facebook group. Those ones baffle me. Don't ask for a refund.
I know, right? Like, and then my buyer that just came in here, well, she wasn't announced, but the one who's just come in again, booked a coaching call with me. She bought in 2018 and is now getting in the business.
Hmm.
And then I had another one that was in 2017 and is now wanting to do the business. They've tried. This one in 2017, Maria, she said, I have tried so much stuff since then, and I see you're still doing the same thing. I want it. Right.
I've got this one lady who's been a buyer of mine since 2018. She's reached out to me so many times over the years to say, I'm still interested, and can you send me this? And like just asking for little bits of info. Finally, when I told her about InCruises, she's like, okay, I'll start with that. So it took a little bit, but she finally started. And now she's like, that's just the type of person she is. She's not doing anything. So like if they've been like that as a lead or a buyer, I feel like that's how they're going to be as a business owner. Because I've offered her like at least 5 times, let's set up a time to Zoom so I can do an onboarding Zoom with you, explain things. Oh, yeah. She works out of town. So I'll get back to you when I'm back in town. And I've asked her to check Flock. So I'm like back and forth on Flock and Messenger, asking her to check her Flock message. She just still doesn't have her profile picture up in Flock. Like that's how at the beginning she is, but I can't like get in contact with her. So I'm like, I feel like saying to people when they come on, like, you have my full mentorship for a 3-month period. So take advantage of me. After that, I'm not going to be following up with you anymore. And I'm going to leave it up to you to follow up with me. Because I feel like I have these business owners who are years into the business who are coming back to me with these beginner questions. And I'm like, do I really have to mentor someone like they're a beginner when they're 2 or 3 years into the business? It's such a drain. And Melissa Christopher, sorry if you're ever watching this, Melissa, but she messaged me yesterday again with a video, because she always sends me her videos to review before she does them as ads. So I gave her some pointers. I said, it looks good. And then I said, but if this is for Facebook, she didn't tell me what it was for. I said, first of all, if it's for Facebook, you got to go check that, flagged words section and make sure it's okay. And she sent back to me, well, that's what I sent this to you for. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. That's your responsibility as a business owner to make sure your ad complies with whatever platform you're putting it on. Like, don't use me as a proofreader to tell you if there's flagged words in your ad. You've been in this business long enough. Like, I was just looking at it to see if the message was generally okay. I'm not looking for flagged words. Ugh.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
We all have one
Venting
of those.
session.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody has one of those. And it's ones that's been in the business the longest. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And it's like they came into the business and they flew by the seat of their pants, not doing the training.
Mhm.
And you can tell the ones that are not doing the training. And I know I've asked some of these people, like, questions on the new training that's come out, and they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. One lady
Mhm.
didn't even know there wasn't numbers on the training anymore. And I said, but you told me you were in the training last week. How were you in the training and not seeing? Oh, I've just never noticed. Well, that's the first thing I noticed when they took the numbers away, because I always look for the numbers, right? Because I knew what number every tab was in. So,
Yeah.
but anyway.
Speaking of the training, the study group, did that get brought up before I came on? Not to add any InCruise only people to the TDD study group, because the study group goes over all of the training and InCruise people don't have access to all the training.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that today, but I messaged Leslie Moffat to let her know, and she brought it up when they met on Monday. She talked to them about it before they started recording, I guess. But yeah, Deborah, just so you know as well, Laura realized that we shouldn't be adding any InCruise only business partners to that TDD study group on Flock, because obviously they're not having access to the whole training site. So a lot of it is not relevant, or else it's giving them a sneak peek, I guess, into what they shouldn't be seeing.
Well, so maybe we can make a list of the ones that are in InCruises only. And when it gets to that portion of the training of InCruises, that they could join in.
I think us as
I mean-
mentors should just watch that TDD study group and just make sure they're not being added to it too, right?
And the 50+ also, because if they're being added into the TDD, they're gonna be added into the.
Yeah, but I'm not in the 50+ because I'm not 50.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how do I
You
don't
don't, you
see, I don't
Yeah.
see what's happening.
Yeah, but you can always send me, if you have somebody that's InCruises only, just send me a name and I'll look and see if they're in there. If they are, we'll just.
Well,
pull
I
them
know
out.
Susan Ross got in there because she goes to it. So somebody
And
Yeah.
she's enjoying it. Well,
Yeah,
No, I
if
think
she wants to be in, we can leave her in.
Yeah, the
because-
group, the 50+ group is fine,
Yeah.
but their study group,
yes.
they have a study group for that. She should not be in,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, our
Yeah.
TDD study group, which just
and there's
goes over the
also a
training.
50
She's
plus.
TDD.
Yeah, and there's
Study
also a
group.
50 plus.
Oh, is
There's
there?
a 50 plus study group. Yeah, so that's what Debbie was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I
There's
didn't know
two of
that.
them, one for 50+ and one for TDD.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, no, she should not be in. So if you can check
Yeah.
that then for me, if you wouldn't mind. Her
Yeah.
name is Susan Ross, because I know she's in the 50+ like flock group and loves it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deborah, I think there's no reason for the InCruise only buyers to even be in the study group, even when they get to the InCruises section of the training, because they have
But they
such a
can't
small
go in
training
it.
site. They have such a small training site, they can just review it themselves. It's just that the huge big training site is why we have the study group, because it's so much to go over, right? But like if you're an InCruises only buyer, I don't think you need a study group to study your section of the training. It's pretty small. You should be able to go through it yourself.
And
You know what I mean?
InCruises has such a great videos and training themselves, right? That it's good. Yeah, I just wish they 149 straight across the board, then we don't have to worry about it. Oh my gosh, my first person that came in with 149 and started with InCruises only, it was a horror show. They told my buyer that whoever was giving her this information didn't know what they were doing, talking about me, because I was telling her, you paid the 149, it's your first funnel, you do not have to pay for it. They were telling her they weren't going to build her funnel unless she sent them $25. And she said, my coach, my mentor and coach told me that I do not have to pay for my first funnel because I paid $149 to start. And they said, whoever your mentor and coach is doesn't have a clue what they're talking about. And when she sent me that, I lost it. Good thing Penny knows. See you, Deb. I know you got an appointment. And I lost it. And I said, like, I caught, and of course, it was when they were all in Seattle or wherever it was they were, right? So I sent a message to Tom, to Darren and Mike, and I sent a message to her. And I said, I am, and then I said Penny's name and stuff, her mentor and coach. I do know what I'm talking about. And I sent her the link to the mastermind where Mike and Darren sent it and the timestamp for her to go take a look. I was so angry. I thought, my
she
God,
knew?
how do you tell somebody that their mentor and coach doesn't have a clue? That,
Mhm, you
first of
shouldn't say
all,
that.
was wrong in the beginning.
And
I
what
would
gets
never
me-
say that to anybody.
And what gets me is she would have been listed as an Enagic buyer because she paid in at 149, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She is listed as an Enagic buyer.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the funnel team can see, but hopefully they should be able to see that.
Yeah. And then when it got all done and over with, it wasn't her I ended up dealing with at the end. But how dare
Who
her
was
say
it?
that? If she said that about me, she's saying it about others too, if somebody has a concern, right? So it
Was
was,
it a
I was
new person
so
though,
angry.
Deborah?
huh? No,
New?
no, it was,
Hmm.
let me see, let me tell you exactly.
Elisa? Alicia or Alicia?
Who'd you say?
Alicia Bridgen or
It was Alicia.
Alicia.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's been doing it a while.
She's been doing it quite a while.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was her. But I said, how dare you say that to my buyer? Like, I do know what I'm talking about, right?
Isn't she related to Darren?
I don't know, but
I
I
think
said,
she's like
copied and pasted the whole
Stephanie or something.
conversation to them. And then they came back and they said, oh my gosh, we told her, how dare her speak to you like that? Like, and I said, well, if she's saying that stuff to me, she's saying it to other people too, right? So that's got to be fixed. You cannot take the credibility away from somebody's mentor and coach,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? But I mean, she couldn't have watched the mastermind that they talked about that. She couldn't have watched it. Because they said right on the mastermind, you pay the 149, you start with InCruises only, you still get your first funnel paid, and you get your coaching call. Now, if you join Enagic, you have to pay for your Enagic funnel. That was already in there, and that's exactly what I had told her, and that's what Penny and them are prepared to do. They've already joined Enagic, and they've already built another funnel, and they've already paid for the other funnel. They had no problem with that whatsoever, right? But it took, well, until that whole event was over before she refused to do the funnel. So,
Crazy.
because Penny sent him this message saying, she wants me to pay another $25. You told me I didn't have to pay. And I said, you don't. Like, you know? And then she said, well, I'll send you what she said about, I lost it. Good thing I know Penny, because like, I lost it. I wanted to do
you guys
FaceTime Zoom with her, but she wouldn't do it with me. So,
do you guys follow Jorge on Instagram? He's
Yeah.
on another cruise and he's already booked his next one. So I heard him say something once that he runs his business from cruise to cruise, in the sense that he makes it like his goal to rank up by the next time he's on a cruise. And I think he books his next cruise while he's still on his last cruise. So I'm going to try to start doing that too. I just have to figure out who I'm going to go cruising with. I don't know if I want to take my kids the first time, because I want it to be more of like a chance to take pictures and videos and business stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It'd be nice to do business stuff.
well, you know, there's a lady, they did a story on her here in Playa del Carmen. Actually, two ladies, my age or older. They live on cruise ships. They
I've
own
heard
one
of that.
suitcase worth of stuff. They own one suitcase worth of stuff. And they go from cruise to cruise to cruise to cruise. And it's cheaper than paying for an apartment for a year.
I've heard of that. I've heard of people going on those 1 year long world cruises too.
Yep. And
That's
it's cheaper
crazy.
for them to book cruise to cruise to cruise to cruise than it is to have an apartment or a house.
Well, My husband would starve if I did that.
Yeah, he wouldn't come with you.
No, he can't in the wintertime because that's his busiest time in the gas field. He can't go anywhere in the winter, so no,
Mm.
no. And then the summer is not good for cruising, so.
Yes, it is. Go to Alaska. Do the Alaskan cruise in the summer. Alaska
you know
is
what's-
absolute beautiful. Like, if nobody has never been to Alaska, go to Alaska. And like the cruise ship goes to Anchorage, it goes to Skagway, it goes to 3 places in Alaska. And it's I've never been on the cruise, but I've been to all the places where the cruise ships come in. It's absolutely beautiful. I love Alaska.
But you know how I just said Jorge booked his next cruise? He booked it to the Dominican in the summer. Like, isn't that, it's going to be so hot, I would think.
Well, it's
But-
they live here in the summer, be the same temperature as here, right?
Mhm.
And
guess.
actually, this summer or last summer was cooler here in Mexico than it was in Canada because they were up to 42, 43, some places 46 Celsius in the summer,
that's
summer
true.
in Canada, right?
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
and the Dominican's cooler than Mexico because it's not that big, so it has the ocean breeze from all directions, right?
So I've never been on a cruise. So when you're actually out at sea, do you feel the same weather? Like, is it hot in the summer and cold in
No,
the
it's
winter?
cold.
Okay.
We went on a cruise. When was it? The last cruise we went on was 2014, just before my big accident, I think. And we did the Bahamas, all the Bahama Islands, and we went out of off of Florida, off of Key West. We went out to Key West and went on the cruises. And it had been so hot in Florida, you know, the few days before we went. And when we were on the cruise, well, I don't know, it was record cold too. Holy frig. We had no coats with us. So nobody was standing outside on the ship. It was just so friggin' cold. But like, you know, if it's not real windy, and where they have the pools and things outside, you're sheltered from that. So it's nice and warm. You just get the sunshine. So, but it is cooler on the ships than it is on land.
How's the motion sickness on the big cruise
Well, I
ships?
don't get motion sickness, but of course we ran into a storm on one of our cruises too. Oh my gosh. We got into a storm and the boat was just going like this.
Oh,
Wow. I
Right?
would be scared.
But I mean, they prepared us because I mean the weather forecast showed that, you know, where we were going to run through a storm. So
Mhm.
and if it's bad, like they grounded us. We didn't even go out a couple of nights. We were grounded. And you know, because of the weather, right? So
I
you
know
just
just
wanna
on
make
charter
sure-
boats. I've been on quite a few charter boats, like bigger charter boats, and I have to wear that motion sickness patch behind my ear.
Well, it's not like you don't get like that kind of a
Don't?
boat. You don't
Okay.
get that. You only get the front to end, like, you know, if it's really bad weather. But
Not
you
gonna
don't
roll
get
out of your
that.
bed or anything.
No, you don't roll out of bed.
Did anybody watch Nisreen's go live from the cruise
I
that she did in the Dream Team? I did, but it was a bit like echoey. Did you notice that? Every time she was talking, it was like echoing. But yeah, she mentioned that she bought the wrist things for motion sickness and to be prepared before you go, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not bad. But I grew up on the water and I lived on the ocean for, you know, 30 some years. So Mike had his own fishing boat. So we were out in the Bay of Fundy. And one thing about the ocean, I have such a respect for it. Like it can be sunny and beautiful and like a glass bottle. And you're looking in this direction, not behind you. And all of a sudden, you know, 12, 20-foot swale could come and go right over top of your boat. So you got to hang on. One time Kelsey was on it and that happened and she flew off the boat and fishing pole and all. She was sitting at the edge fishing and finally, you know, and his wasn't a small boat. I mean, you could live on that boat. It had the bedroom and the kitchen and everything down under in the gully, right? But she flew off, but she come up off that. We still don't know how she got back onto the boat, but she come up out of that water onto that boat so quick, just like that. She might have been maybe 10 or 11,
Oh.
something like that. But yeah, I can, the ocean is alive, so,
Mhm.
and the Bay of Fundy seems to have I say it's the demon of the Bay of Fundy, because that water can be, but fishermen go missing every day because their boats aren't that big. And
But with
some of these fishing boats, I wouldn't even get on. Like, they're so bad, right? I wouldn't take it
Cruise-
in a lake, let alone the ocean. What?
Cruise ships generally travel at night and you're usually get a destination during the day. So most of your travel is at night when you're sleeping.
Yeah,
And they're big enough and heavy enough. And as far as weather is concerned, because we're going to be in Panama, that's one of the things I looked at in cruises was to see what kind of cruises we could get out of there. And actually, you could go all the way down to the tip of South America on a cruise.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and their seasons are opposite ours. So, you could go down, you could take that cruise in the summertime and still enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. They're pretty cool. And they're bringing new ones on every day. Like, they're bringing new resorts for here every day. They're getting closer to flyover resorts. So,
I want to go on one of
Have
those
to-
Virgin Voyages.
I'm gonna have to get going. I gotta work the night shift, so I better go shower and stuff.
yes,
I thought it was
yeah,
Good
we'll
seeing
call it.
y'all.
Yeah,
It
good
was
seeing
nice
you
Bye.
too.
Laura.
It's great. Nice
Bye.
seeing you too, Lori and Christine.
See you.
We'll call
Bye.
it a day. Oh, our next one. Oh, they're gone. Our next one we'll
Okay.
have on. We'll be in Panama for our next one. Our next one will be November 16th. November 16th is our next one.
Okay. What time did you start? Because I thought there was a 2-hour time difference. That's why I was late. I would have
Noon.
been
Noon. We started at noon. My
noon your-
CST. You're on Eastern time now?
Yeah.
That's 1 o'clock.
I thought it was 2 hours. I thought there was a 2-hour time difference. So
Oh, just
you,
one.
yeah, if you get the recording up, I'd like to watch what you guys talked about in the
Okay,
first.
yeah, basically we talked about InCruises getting, so, yeah, well, good.
Yeah.
When do you leave, Lori?
Monday.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Take
But
lots of
anyhow,
pictures.
I should. Yeah, I will. I should get going here. Ken's coming in with the dogs. It's gonna get noisy and I have to go to the washroom.
Alrighty
So-
then, I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Nice seeing you, bye.